يا إمام الرسل يا سندي أنت باب الله معتمدي فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا نبي الله. صلاة وسلاما عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel and crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakener of our souls, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most generous one, the most kind one. Undoubtedly, He is the most beautiful one. None other than Sayyiduna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa baraka wa sallam. MashaAllah, it's another beautiful Friday where the sun is out and we have the privilege of offering Salatul Jumu'ah outside here in Al-Hikam's vast car park. MashaAllah, many brothers from the local community and outside the local community attend and perform their Jumu'ah duties and prayers here. Allah Almighty accept our ibadat in the month of Ramadan, the month of mercy, the month of forgiveness, the month of asking for forgiveness, the month of getting close to Allah Jalla wa Ala, the month of taqwa. Allah Jalla wa Ala said in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe and have faith, fasting has been prescribed upon you as it was prescribed upon those before you. لعلكم تتقون. And then Allah Almighty tells us the wajh, the reason why He has made fasting fard on us, why we must fast in the month of Ramadan. لعلكم تتقون, so that we fear Allah Jalla wa Ala. We know, and I've discussed this over the nights, the last few nights of Ramadan Kareem. What does taqwa mean? Taqwa in the Arabic language is derived from the word wiqaya. Wiqaya in the English language means to protect oneself. One of the names of Surah Al-Fatiha is Surah Al-Wiqaya, because Surah Al-Fatiha is a protection from the spiritual evils that are out there. Whoever recites Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah Almighty will protect him through an angel. Allah Almighty will protect him from the demons, the jinnat. Allah will protect him from the evils that are out there. That's the power of Surah Al-Fatiha, known as Al-Wiqaya. Wiqaya means to protect oneself. And we see that taqwa means to protect yourself from the wrath of Allah. Taqwa is a state of mind. Taqwa is a way of life. And it's the best way of life. A way of life where you put Allah Almighty first. And by putting Allah Almighty first, you are protecting yourself from the azab of Allah and the punishments of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty said in the Quran, يُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ. That is a scary verse. You will not find a scarier verse in the Quran where Allah Almighty Himself is saying that Allah is warning you from Himself. Allah is warning you from Himself. For He also said in the Quran, إِنَّ بَطْشَ رَبِّكَ لَشَدِيدٌ. Indeed, the anger and wrath of Allah Almighty is severe. وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُمْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. He said in the Quran that whatever you do, وَإِن تُبْدُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ, whatever you do openly or you hide, يُحَاسِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ, Allah is going to hold you account for this. He's going to question you. He's going to ask you, what did you do? The life you lived in secret, the life you did in public. You can't hide from Allah Almighty, my brothers. Allah Almighty sees every single thing that we and you do. How long are you going to hide for? How long are you going to run for from the wrath of Allah? How long? Allah knows what you're going to make, what decisions you're going to do. This is why it's important, my brothers and the sisters who are watching, that we adopt this way of life called taqwa. Taqwa is a way of life. It is the best way of life. It's that way of life where you save yourself from anguish. You save yourself from sorrow. You save yourself from hardship and difficulty. Where your life becomes easy because you have submitted to the divine will of Allah Almighty. You have submitted to what Allah has asked you to do. You're going to live that life. The life that Allah Almighty has ordered for you to live. A life where you pray, a life where you fast. A life where you do good deeds. You live a good life. You treat your parents good. You treat your children good. You treat your brethren good. You treat your family good. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. And you are good to people. You have a smiling face. You are nice. You are kind. You are generous. You are following the sunnah and the life of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You do what Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam ordered you to do. You live that life where you put Allah Almighty first in your life and everything second. You make Allah Almighty primary, not secondary. You make your salah primary, not secondary. You put fasting first and charity first. You put the rights of others before yourself to make sure that you do not violate the rights of your fellow Muslim brother. And let me mention to you the rights of a Muslim brother. Sadly, rights that we have forgotten. We should hang our heads in shame that we do not know the right that our fellow Muslim brother has over us. the right that Allah Almighty and His Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam obliged upon one another. Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam said, it is haram for one Muslim to spill the blood of another Muslim. It is haram for one Muslim to rob the wealth of another Muslim. It is haram for a Muslim to disrespect and take the honor of another Muslim. Have we forgotten these words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Many of you will be sat here saying, Imam Sahib, we haven't forgotten these words. But sadly, we have forgotten these words. Because every so often on the streets of Bradford, and not only Bradford, Sheffield, Birmingham, London, Bolton, Preston, Manchester, every so often in the streets, where there is a large Muslim community, we hear of stories, we hear of bad news. If you read the newspaper, the Telegraph and Argos, you will see every week there is an article and a column which mentions in that week who was convicted. And you will see so many young lads in the early 20s, in the late teens who have drug debts, who've been muling around, selling drugs on the streets of Bradford, getting caught by undercover police officers and operations. So and so that we recognize, that we know very well, we've grew up with, we've chilled with, we spent time with, driving around in the RS3s, hiring these cars out, getting them on finance on their sister's name and their brother's names, without insurance, peddling drugs on the streets of Bradford, on the streets of Sheffield and Manchester and everywhere else where there's Muslims, sadly. And these are our young Muslim brothers who are serving time in prisons. And it's alarming, shocking to see the population of Muslims occupying the prison cells up and down the country. Shocking. We now form one of the largest populations. The brotherhood inside Her Majesty's prison service is increasing. And they call it brotherhood because now they want family inside there. Murderers, rapists, convicts, fraudsters, a lot of them, they're all in there serving time for different reasons. And every so often we see scenarios of young lads driving fast cars out of control in the streets of Bradford, driving at 100 miles per hour on 30 mile per hour roads, 80, 90 mile per hour, thinking they Michael Schumachers and Lewis Hamiltons, taking bends, thinking they can do half-wheelers, donuts, they can do handbrakes, they can do all these maneuvers in cars. Got their phones out, going at 100 mile per hour, thinking they're 10 men. Shockingly, his father is a taxi driver. Sadly, he's going out earning halal, and this young kid, this wannabe gangster from the streets, this plastic gangster, this young lad who thinks he's it, who's made it, because he's wearing fake Gucci and fake Garms, and he's going and wearing fake Rolexes, AA pluses, walking around like he's 10 men, thinking he's it. There's a chip on his shoulder. Forgotten his roots, that his father and grandfather were farmers. And today he's become a so-called gangster on the streets of Bradford. Every so often we hear of young people dying. Only in 2018 I did a speech at the Janaza, 3 years ago nearly, of those 4 young lads who died on Toller Lane, who crashed into a tree taking a chase from police officers. Every so often we're hearing these stories and that. Sadly, last night, we heard a young lad that we know personally. We know his family, we know who they are. was brutally murdered on Duckworth Lane. He was stabbed to death. I don't know if you guys have seen that video. And it's shocking that the ones who are making videos are cowards. Cowards, bro. The cowardice in our community is shocking. You're driving in a car with a video on, your camera's on your iPhones, and you're recording next man getting killed. What is the state of you people? Is this the state of your brothers and sisters? Is this the state of your children? Is this what we've become? That we've got to take cameras out and record murder? Did no one have the audacity to get out of the car and stop those kids and say, what are you doing, man? You're murdering a young lad. That's someone's son. That is someone's grandson that you're killing on the streets. You're spilling blood. It's haram. My brother, it's a month of Ramadan. 19-year-olds are murdering a joking man's on the street, stabbing them up. 19-year-old Mujtaba, his name was, known as Muj. 19 years old in the early hours of the morning, suhoor time. My brothers, a blessed time, a time when du'as are accepted. This is a time when du'as, Allah Almighty's mercy is descending. If Allah's azab does not come on us people, then what will come on us? If Allah does not punish me and you, then what will happen to us? That we allowed an innocent young boy, over what? What were they feuding and fighting over? Snapchat, Instagram, fighting over what? What was the argument? An argument on the streets? You've done this, watch what I do to you, I'm going to come back to you. The cowardice on that man. Called him out for a straightener, whatever it may be, whatever the story is. Say, for example, it was a straightener. And he called him out in this scenario for a straightener. And he's a coward, the guy who's called this kid. He's called all his boys and they've got baseball bats. They've got knives. They could have had guns in their hands. And what did they do? Stabbed him to death on the street. Stabbed him to death. And we carry on like life is normal in Bradford. But what are these kids doing on the streets, man? Today it's someone's son, tomorrow it'll be our son. That wasn't somebody's son, that's our son. The day you take other children as your own children, then you will have value for life. What's happened is we don't consider next man to be like a father. He's elder than me, I shouldn't answer him back. There's no respect left in the streets. No respect. Biological sons don't respect their fathers no more. They think they're bigger and better than their dads. Shocking. But this is the state of our ummah. This is the state of our community. We talk about Leeds Road. We talk about Great Horton Road. We're talking about Duckworth Lane now. The streets for 20 years that I've lived on. Right at the bottom of my street, Duckworth Grove. Murder on our doorstep. Nobody had the audacity and bravery to go. You're cowards. That's what you are. You 10 men that walk on these streets, all this business community, all of us are cowards. We couldn't prevent this murder. We couldn't go up to those kids and slap them up on that. Haven't you seen videos in America? Ex-gangsters come out of prison and they see young lads, gang rivals. And there's gangs in Bradford. Those cars that landed, baseball batting the windows, thinking they're 10 men. What 10 men are you? Where are you? Whether they're from West Park, wherever they're from. You're cowards. You ain't no gangsters, you ain't no men. You know who the gangster and the real man is? The real gangster, the true definition of a man, is that brave man who says, you know what? You done me over, but I'll forgive you. You done me over, but I'm going to forgive you for Allah. And Allah will deal with you then. Because I ain't going to take your life. That's a real gangster. That's a real bad man. That's a brave man. That's somebody who truly believes in the will of Allah. That's a gangster. Not these gangsters, plastic so-called gangsters carrying knives about, juking man's up when they feel like it. Because you know what? He swore at me. He drove in front of my car. Who are you? What is your essence as a man? You're a drop of semen. You're nothing. You're going to go into this ground. What are you? You wear gold and you think you're the Pharaoh of the time. You think you're the Nimrod of the time. You think you're the Qarun and Abu Jahl of this time. You think you're Al Capone and you're the Tony Montana. You think you're these fictional characters. You watch these Peaky Blinders and you think, yeah, I'm a Thomas Shelby now. You're a bum on the street. That's what you are. You're a coward. You want to straighten it. I'll tell you how to straighten beef out. You come to this masjid, you sit me down, we'll sit elders of the community down and we'll straighten your beef out. You want to do it like men? Come in front of me and do it like men. Sit in front of me and I'll straighten your beef out. When I put Allah and His Rasul in front of you, I will then like to see whether you will want to go and carry on wanting to murder next man, expose next man, do next man over. Is this the way you do it? This was someone's son. What's going to go through that mother's mind? She was meant to close a fast. That father said, just don't go out. There's no need. A mother and father feel. Those murderers, every one of them murdered him. There was a one guy, he may have done, they're all responsible. Every one of them is a scum. The only way for them is to turn back to Allah. The only option they have is to do tawbah, is to go back to Allah, spend time in the way of Allah. They should go to that mother. They should go to that mother and say, you know what, Auntie, I murdered your son. I accept it. Own up to your responsibility. Now they're like rats on the street running around, hiding from the police. How long are you going to run, bro? How long are you going to run from these police? How long are you going to carry on living this life? Today is this brother who's been murdered, and there's been many before him who have been murdered. The amount of drug dealing that goes on, whether it's in West Park, whether it's on Leeds Road, the amount of young lads who have turned to drugs, and then they go feed their children. These guys are murderers. These innocent young lives, they don't know what they're doing. And you take najais further of them. You misadvantage, you take advantage of these young kids and their innocence. You corrupt them. You corrupt them on these streets. You are murderers. You drug dealers are murderers. Every time you supply that drug, you are contributing to the murder of someone. You cannot run from Allah. How long will you run? يُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ. Allah warns you from Himself. He says that how long are you going to run? Where will you hide? How long will you hide your sins? Allah Almighty sees everything. He knows what you're doing. The Ummah needs to wake up. Our community needs to wake up. We've allowed another innocent life to die. Why? Because over some petty beef. Man went and juked next man. Shocking. It brings tears to your eyes thinking about this young man. What did he do? He had his whole life ahead of him. You might say, well, it was written. Don't give me this written. Allah Almighty had written it. Allah knows. But He gave me and you free will to make choices. We've got a choice to make. That young lad who called him out for a straightener, that young lad who wanted to fight him, who got his boys like a coward, he got all of them to gang upon him. That young lad, when he done that, at that time, what was going through his mind? What was he thinking? Was he that angry? What did this kid do that he deserved to get his life taken away? What did he do? This was a choice he made. You chose to kill this kid. And you'll have to serve time now. And you're going to serve time, you're going to rot in a prison. Turn back to Allah and do tawbah. Go to that mother and ask for her forgiveness. The Prophet ﷺ, when Imam al-Mundhiri talks about murder, in his Targheeb wa Tarheeb, this compilation, this collection of ahadith, the first hadith he narrates is to warn me and you. The great Mundhiri writes and narrates this hadith that on the day of judgment, when everyone will be held accountable, the first thing Allah will hold man account for is the blood that he spilled, the murder that he committed. He who kills one person, it's as if he's killed entire humanity. Nobody deserves to be murdered brutally on the streets of Bradford. No kid at 19 deserves to be murdered like that. No kid at all. And every one of us should go and create awareness on these issues. These gangsters, these gangs that are out there, you got wars, you're feuding, you're beefing. Come to the house of Allah. Come sit with us. Sit with us and tell us. Sit with us and tell us your problem. Tell us what it is. Turn to the men of Allah to resolve your issues. Have you not seen imams in the ghettos in America? Ex-gangsters, gangsters, wannabes, turned. Allah's guided them. And what's happening with our youth? What sort of life are they living? I don't understand. Every year it's getting worse and worse and worse. And today is one of our own. Tomorrow will be another one. These are our brothers that are getting murdered on the streets. How do we not value the blessing of life? Do we not value the blessing of parents? How is that mother going to feel? How is this brother who's murdered, his mother going to feel? Is this the son that they brought up to murder people on the streets? How angry is he that he had to resort to murder? You know, what is that beef? What has he done that's so bad that he had to be killed? He got killed on the streets, man. That is no joke. You know, if you think that's a joke, and if that does not move your heart, that thought that this young lad got killed, then you know what it is. You have no Iman inside you. The Muslim Ummah is one body. If one part of the body is hurt, the whole body feels the pain. We must feel the pain of that family. An innocent life. Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Qatil wal-Maqtul fin-Nahr. Murder. The murderer and the one murdered. What's going to happen in the hellfire? This is going to be the situation. And what's shocking of all, I mean, this is shocking as it is. We are in the month of Ramadan. This was the 10th night. Today is the 10th fast. The nights of forgiveness began. And these kids are murdering each other on the streets, man. We've got kids ramming cars off each other. They're going to get a big 4x4 and ram into someone's driveway, drive into someone's car. Over what? What are you beefing over? Drugs? What are you beefing over? Girls? Street reputation, credit? What is your street cred and rep? Nothing. You're nobodies, man. There's nothing. You are nobody. You think you're 10. What are you going to do when you stand before Allah? I just can't believe how this thought does not cross mine and your mind. Like you're going to stand before Allah one day. What face will you show? How will you present yourself? What are you going to put forward to get into paradise? Have we lost that? You know what it is? I started with taqwa and I'll end with this. Fear. We have lost fear of God in our hearts. We do not have taqwa no more. We are not muttaqun. We do not fear. We are cowards. We think we're brave, but we're cowards. We've got no fear of Allah. Like you're not scared of Allah Almighty and His punishment. Like don't you see this corona and COVID that's come on us? Can you not think that Allah is testing us here? Do you not think Allah Almighty will test you in ways that you can't imagine? Where's your fear gone? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi. Fear Allah as He should be feared. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha. Fear Allah. Everywhere Allah says fear Him, fear Him, fear Him. Do you not fear His punishment and His wrath? Didn't He destroy nations before like Ad and Thamud? Didn't He destroy Fir'aun and Nimrud? Did Allah Almighty not destroy Abu Jahl? He warns you, gives you chance after chance after chance, and then it's too late. It's too late, and you're Muslims and you're killing one another. This is a shocking state that our ummah, our community is in. My brothers, wake up. Wake up. You've got beef, you've got problems, I'll give you a solution. Come to the masjid. Come to us. Come to us and we will help you. You've got issues, turn to the masjid. Confidential, nobody is going to get involved. Nobody will find out your business. But instead of going and taking your beef onto the streets, in front of people's homes and businesses, Muslim killing Muslim in non-Muslim land. Shocking. Absolute shocking. And what's happening in Muslim lands is even worse. It's even worse. There's no justification, my brothers, to what happened last night. There's no justification. We can only just imagine, just think of a moment, have a thought for his parents, his mother and father. You know, what did he do to deserve what he had got last night? Nothing. I don't think he did anything that deserved for him to be murdered brutally in the cold hours of the morning and that. And every single one of us needs to go away and think about this. If you know lads who are beefing, feuding, settle beef, man. Don't cause beef. Don't spread hate. Spread love. Squash the beef. Life is very, very short. It's 2 days, my brothers and sisters. 2 days. Today it's here, tomorrow it's gone. How long will we live and walk on this earth and think we're 10 men? Not long. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, "An-nasu niyamun," man sleeping. إِذَا مَاتُوا intabahu. When he'll die is when he's going to wake up and realize. But it might be too late. It might be too late for you then. So turn back to Allah now. If you know lads who are dealing drugs and they're friends with you, tell them, brother, forget that life. Give that life up. It is better for you to work in Tesco's or Morrison's with respect and honor and earning a halal food and halal money for your children than to go and shot drugs on the streets, man. It's better for you than doing that. It's better for you to suppress your anger, al-kadhimin al-ghayth, than it is to pick a knife up with the intention of murdering someone. Why did he pick that knife up? He must have gone out there with that intention. It can't be nothing else. Well, he was going to go scare him. How are you scaring someone with a knife? You're going to juke man's up and kill him. How are you going to scare someone? I've got lads sat here. I know brothers sat here who have been offered pieces. They've been offered pieces. And I'm not talking this generation, previous generations. And it never resorted to murder. They didn't go out murdering mans. They didn't beef. Today, 18-year-olds are carrying pieces, knives, murdering over petty issues. Bruv, this is shocking. I can't state it enough how bad it is that young people are resorting to guns, knives. You know, we hear it in London, we hear it in Birmingham. Now we're hearing it in Bradford commonly. You know, we're carrying weapons of murder, murderous weapons. Just carrying a firearm, what is it? Minimum 5 to 8 years in prison just for carrying a firearm. And we've got young lads who have got pieces stashed away. I'm going to go to war on that. You ain't no drug cartel. You ain't no Pablo Escobar. You're some fool, mate, from Mirpur. That's what you are. You don't know, you forgot your roots, man. You need to be told in reality who you are. You're nobody. You're nobody. And because you're nobody, don't become a scum. Don't become scum of this earth. Because when you become a scum on this earth, there will be nothing left for you. You will have everywhere to turn. Only way and only place you can turn to then is Allah Almighty. And you know what? It's never too late to turn to Allah, but you should have done it on the first step. You should have turned to Allah first before everything. And now they're going to cry and they're going to run around. What's the point? That kid's not going to come back. May Allah Jalla wa Ala give that brother a place in Jannatul Firdaus. May Allah Almighty end this bloodshed and this fighting and feuding. May Allah Almighty allow us to have mercy in our hearts for our brothers. May we understand each other's rights. We have rights over one another as Muslims. May Allah Almighty allow us to understand these rights. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعواي أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
يا إمام رسل يا سندي أنت باب الله معتمدي فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي